Dashcam videos might not be the most exciting things to film, so I've decided to make it a little bit more exciting. And for that we're going to need to lower this tripod a little bit.
Slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
This is a Porsche 718 Boxster, and it will definitely make testing of this camera more fun. But first, we'll have to put the camera in place. And here comes the first problem. Where the heck can I find a lighter port? It's clearly not my car, I have to Google it. Another USB fuses, no port. I found it. Now, if I'm going to put it here, the camera is going to be obstructed by the mirror, so ideally we'll want to put it on the side here, which is even worse for the camera, or here, which kind of feels like very close in the view. So there are choices to be made. Oh, there's a big clock. I wish that the camera was on adjustable angle. And there is a GPS option that you also have to stick in. And that can go in a corner. Obviously I'm going to cable manage this later on. Right, and let's tie up the cables and go and record some footage. Hope you're gonna appreciate the genius way I'm going to film this. I have a chest harness which is gonna go on the seat. Oh, this is perfect. Look at that. And then you go to settings, to the camera settings, and we can change the resolution to 4K plus 1080p, which I think it's alright, and resume the recording. Alright. National speed limits apply. So let's apply them. What you're getting in the box is a camera itself and a bunch of accessories that will allow you to install this inside your car. Obviously you're getting a mounting point for the camera itself, the GPS is attached by a 3M pad, and if you picked up an optional rear camera, you're gonna have a small tab to attach the rear camera to the back and connect it wirelessly with the main unit. Very neat. The camera itself comes with 4K recording in front and 2K recording facing towards the interior of the car. Extra features include the large screen, which you can use to set up parameters of your dashcam, Wi-Fi, because you can connect this camera to your phone and browse the media from the phone, and also microphone and infrared. As the camera comes with a accelerometer inside, it also can be used in a parking mode when it will start recording short clips up to 15 seconds when the camera senses vibrations, whether it's from closing down doors or someone just swiping you in a car park. I haven't tested how sensitive it is in that scenario, but doors will activate it, so that's why I can tell you for sure. But when I was looking up the dashcam specification online, I found other reviews claiming that this camera doesn't turn off when you start the ignition. And that couldn't be further from the truth, because it works as expected. The supplied cable is actually quite long and should reach to any sockets that are located behind the passenger seats or maybe somewhere near the back seat compartment. However, you have to bear one thing in mind, because the cable included contains GPS inline. There is not really nice way to extending that if you find yourself short to reach to the 12 volt socket of your choice. As the dashcam uses USB Type-C port, you could use the USB Type-C extender, but that in turn puts your GPS unit slightly further away from the camera, which might not be the preferable position for the GPS installation. One of the things I regret not having is the USB pass-through. My other dashcam actually has a small USB port that I can use, so I don't feel like I'm just occupying the 12-volt port in my car without blocking it completely. Let's talk about video. In theory, 4K sounds nice, but this camera offers 4K at 24 frames per second. Now, it means that you'll have 4K resolution across 170 degree viewing angle, which is, well, good enough in theory, but only 24 frames. Now, up until now I was using 1080p camera with 60 frames per second, and when it comes to looking at the details, you'll have to factor in a couple of things. If the weather is nice and you have plenty of light, then 24 frames is gonna be just fine. But if the weather is bad, then the better advantage would be to have more frames, because chances are your freeze frame will contain heavy motion blur. On a good day, I was able to read the number plates from approximately 10 meters away from the recording made by this dashcam. To compare this to a good human sight, you are expected to read the registration plate, at least in UK, from a distance of 30 to 40 meters, which is like almost 4 times as far. Also comparing the footage from Kingslim D6 to my Akaso dashcam, which runs on 1080p at 60 frames per second, I discovered that the actual resolution bump isn't that much and the details on both cameras looks very similar. I'd say that the details on the D6 are slightly more sharper, but it's definitely not a native 4K camera. Something tells me that the recording may be in 4040p and then upscaling it or something similar, but it's definitely not a native 4K resolution for the front-facing camera. Switching over to the second camera, I was running it at 1080p, which was more than sufficient. That camera comes in handy, especially if you drive professionally and take in passengers. Okay, I can read the plate. NDI5KW. Can you? Now it has an option to either record normally or in infrared mode, and also it is equipped with microphone, so it will provide you with an audio as well for that extra layer of security. If you rather keep the conversations inside the car private, then you can turn off the camera too. Switching over to driving at night, the inner camera switched over to infrared and that's fine. However, in the pitch black conditions using only my headlights, I was able to only make out some of the details in front of me. As per passing cars, you will be able to make out maybe the make, model and color, but nothing really else. The situation improves once you are in urban areas with street lighting. As there is more light, the camera is able to pick up more details, but if the weather is bad, the footage is looking not very promising. Don't get me wrong, you might not be able to read the registration plate, but if you're unfortunate enough to be a part of a collision on the road, that camera footage will be still usable to figure out what exactly happened and who is at blame. When you take out the card from your dashcam, you'll quickly discover there is an extra file on the dashcam, which is called GX Player. Don't worry, as far as I know, this is not a virus. This is a player that is capable of playing your video footage and associated GPS coordinates. That means that it will populate your roads on a map, which is very handy. It will show your current speed not only as an overlay on the screen, but also in the data of the driving too. I was trying to extract this information from the file, but I don't think I have a correct tools to do it, and I was not able to. But the one thing is very useful. You can load the entire directory and see where on the map you've been. So if you're looking for something specific that happened in front of the camera, all you have to do is just select that, a route on the map, and it will provide you with appropriate file from that list. I can imagine this being very handy, especially if you have kids and you would like to get that footage back to inspect how they were driving your car. Oh, I was wondering about one thing, so I'm gonna explain to you as well. Loop recording length. It's a setting that basically describes how long is gonna be your video file on your SD card. When the camera is recording, it records everything in those small chunks. So when the card is full, the camera will attempt to overwrite one of the oldest files, and depending on the loop recording length, you'll know how much footage you're gonna lose. I mentioned the camera comes with Wi-Fi, which can be very handy, especially on setup, because instead of playing with the fiddly buttons at the bottom, all you have to do really is just open the app, connect to the camera, and not only that you can browse the stored files and see the live preview of what you've got on your camera right now, but you can also set up your dashcam just the way you want without going through all those elaborate menus. It is handy for that. However, I also noticed that when I was trying to play stored content, especially in 4K, it wasn't having a great time. So you probably want to download your content instead on your phone and then watch it. So how much do you have to spend on a dashcam like this? The default price is $169, which is, I guess, okay. It's not a perfect dashcam, but let's face it, it's better to have a dashcam than not to have at all. And spending that $169 on a dashcam can be a best investment ever when it comes to protecting your no claims discount. This is gonna cost you so much more. So, thanks for sticking around, drive carefully, and if you want a dashcam, check out the description of this video, you're gonna find everything that you need in there. As for now, I do not have a posting schedule. You know how YouTube works, I don't have to explain all of that, but I do have a social media, follow me there and start a conversation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.